Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be doing a review on the FINECO FX-3 Quadcopter. Now, this is a review model from lighttake.com. I'll have the links in the description of where you can purchase one of these if you're interested. But anyway, basically what we're going to be doing is taking this guy out of the box, setting it up, going through the controls, and then taking it to the park, doing some park flight, house flight, getting some hat cam video of it in flight, and then coming back to the bench doing a final thoughts, pros and cons, and just letting you know what I thought about this guy. So let's get started. Okay, so we got our controller, manual, little bag of goodies with the battery. Looks like a 3.7 volt, 380 mAh LiPo battery. We have a screwdriver, 4 spare props, and the battery charger, which will plug into any cell phone jack, cell phone charging, USB jack, or computer. Okay, so we got the FX-3 out of the package. Let's do an initial inspection here. It looks like basically it's got these prop guards here to really seems like it'd be good for a beginner flyer because you're not going to be damaging your props and you can basically bump into everything and you shouldn't damage anything with these large plastic guards here. It's got a nice green color, and you can see the undercarriage here. The top is just basically a plastic cover canopy, and then here's a flight controller inside there and your battery compartment. Battery slides in nice and easy, not too tight. Doesn't look like you'll be able to put really any kind of larger battery in here, so that looks like the maximum battery size you're going to want to put on this thing. And then it looks like there are LED lights on the 4 corners here. So here's the manual, and we're going to go through some of the flight modes really quick since we have the manual open here. And it's pretty simple. Basically, you've got your throttle on the left and your yaw here, left and right. And then you have your roll and pitch. Those are the basic fly functions for any quadcopter. And then basically you're going to be clicking in the right thumbstick to do your flips. And clicking in the left thumbstick is going to put it in headless mode. Clicking in again will take it out of headless mode. And then the way these guys do their controllers is they have the on-off switch also kind of as their rate of flight mode. So you click it once to do a slow rate, which is a nice and easy pitch and roll. And then you click it again to do your faster, more aggressive rate, which will make you fly faster. It'll pitch and roll it a little more aggressively so you can fly faster. And then what these guys have is if your quadcopter isn't really working correctly, it's when you're level, it's kind of flying in one direction or the other. You go ahead and place it on a level, completely level surface, and you hit this trimming button on top, and then you kind of give it a circular motion, which should recalibrate the gyro or the accelerometer, so it should level the flight. It looks like the only reason they really give you the screwdriver is to unscrew the battery door hatch on the controller. It does take 3 AAA batteries, and unfortunately there's no clip, so the battery door will fall out unless you screw it in each time you take out the batteries. But basically that's it for the controls. Let's go ahead and take this thing out to the park, get some park flight, do the indoor flying as well. test out how good these little guards are. I'm sure we'll be doing some bouncing off the walls, see how this thing does. Then come on back to the bench and do a final pros and cons afterthoughts on exactly what I thought about this guy. So let's get flying. Okay, cool. So we're at the park and gonna give this guy a little test flight, see how it does. Go through all the modes, and see how it does. Okay, so there's rate 1. And gonna go into rate 2, which, this switch here, just push it over to the right side. The inputs do seem a little bit robotic until you get a little farther in the range of the right stick, but not bad. Go ahead and do a range test real quick. There's our full throttle forward. Let's see how far we can get in range. So that's about 100 feet. Still in control. 150. Oh, okay, there we go. Got a little bit sluggish there. So maybe about 200 feet approximately. Oh, flies nice. Got about 5 mile per hour variable winds right now in the park. Let's go through some of the modes. So, pushing in the right stick, it just does a flip. So you push in the right stick and then any direction you press afterwards, it'll do a flip in. Okay, flips nice. Let's try the left stick. And that looks like it's headless mode. So headless mode is working well. I launched in this general direction, and once I push in the left stick, I go into headless mode, and I can be in any yaw, and still forward is forward on my right stick, back is back, left is left, right is right. Seems to be working well. Going out of headless. Pressing in the left stick again to go out of headless. So you got a good working headless, but no return to home. This is actually a really fun flyer. Nice and smooth. So these are the funnels in rate 2. Alright. Still got some battery. It's lasting pretty long. I can tell this is going to be really fun in the house because it has these prop guards, basically full body guards. So for a beginner, you know, knocking into the ceiling and stuff, I could see that this is going to be awesome in the house. You're not going to have to worry about breaking anything. And it seems like this battery is lasting quite a long time. I was a little bit worried about the battery life. There goes some blinking lights on the bottom. So I guess the battery is starting to give. But I was worried about the battery life with these big guards on there because they're extra wind resistance and weight. but it seems to really do good. We'll definitely have some timings in the final pros and cons portion of this review. See how long it lasts. But wow, very impressed in flight time. A little bit of a wind coming up now. Breeze kind of coming up. There we go. So there's the battery fail safe, and it looks like it has a low voltage cutoff, so that's great. Okay, cool. So overall first impressions are really good on this one. Really enjoyed this one, even though it's got these large propeller and body guards. It seems to fly really well, and really liking this. So let's do some house testing, some house flights, maybe some crash testing in the house too, to test these things out and see how it does, and see if we can do any kind of damage to it, which I don't think we will be able to. And then go back to the bench and do a final pros and cons, kind of afterthoughts, and see how it did. Okay, so we're in the house, going to do a little bit of a house flight with this guy, see how it does. Maybe crash around a bit, see if it can tolerate the crashing. So turning on, I'm going to go ahead and start off in fast rate mode, just 2 clicks to the right. Okay, so it's leaning a little bit to the front, so I'm going to go ahead and click this trimming button in. And I guess you're supposed to just kind of do a circle on the stick, wait till it blinks like that, and then you're all set to go. That's better. I love the sound of this one. It's so nice and quiet. Let's see if we can do a hover test here. Okay, so there's kind of a hover test. Does keep its position pretty well. Just some slight drift. But that's really good. Okay, so I'm on the fast rate. And so that's the yaw on the fast. And I'm going to flip this switch to the S, which is the slow rates. And it's the same yaw on both fast and slow. And after spinning for a bit, let's go ahead and test the headless. We took off in that direction with the head facing that direction. So you click in the left thumbstick and that'll put it in headless mode. You can see the front and the back light flashing. And we're just going to spin it with our yaw, and then with the right stick go forward and back. So we are slightly skewed. So you can see how it's going to the left corner there. So it did skew from spinning. Most quads, multicopters like this will skew from spinning quite a bit, and this one's no different. So if you are just starting out, just in general, for multicopters, I'm going to go ahead and go out of the headless by clicking the left button. Just in general, if you are new and you want to use that headless mode, usually don't do a lot of flying and spinning. If you're going to use the headless, just go right into it after you launch with the nose away from you. Go ahead and go into the headless, and then you can slowly control it. Otherwise, the headless might get skewed off its bearing. So anyway, here is the slow rate, roll, and pitch. And then we're going to switch this to the fast. And here is the roll and pitch for the fast rate. Pretty good. Probably about 10 more degrees of pitch. So off the 2 rates, yaw rate stays the same. Let's see what happens if we just cut off the transmitter. Turn off the transmitter while it's flying. So turning off now. 1, 2 seconds, and then it will just drop. Okay, what else? Some flips. Right thumbstick and then flip it. Flips really well, nice and smooth. Does drop a little bit, so you have to give it a little bit of throttle, just barely, to keep it up at the same height. See how it's dropping. Okay. Does real good. Woo! Okay, so let's do a little bit of crash testing. Let's see what happens if we hit the ceiling straight on. Wow. So it just bounces right off. And let's see what happens if we hit the wall. Okay. We did hit the wall. It looks like the prop hit the wall just because I was going so hard and tilted, but no damage. Yeah, you're definitely not going to break this thing anytime soon. I really am liking the way this thing flies. Nice and smooth. Sounds really nice. I think it was pretty well designed. And for the beginner, gosh, this is probably one of the best you can get for this size so far, as far as what I've reviewed. Okay, so the battery is a little bit depleted, but I'm just going to try a lift test. So a little sluggish, but I think that's just because of the battery. And it also, you got to factor in, it also has the weight of these prop guards, which doesn't seem to affect the flying really at all in windless environment, of course. It did also fly really good at the park, but it is extra weight. Okay, so there's our blinking low voltage lights. So just going to fly until it goes into low voltage self-landing, see what happens. Wow, so it's given us a lot of time. There it goes. So it looks like it hits a point where it flies normally, and then it will just land abruptly and then shut itself off. So good, the low voltage is cutting off perfectly, so you won't ruin the battery. Okay, cool. So this is a great flyer actually. So I'm gonna go. Probably, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off these. I'm going to make some mods on this right away, and I'm going to cut off some areas of the prop guards so that you can unscrew these 4 screws and take off just the prop guards if you wanted to, and then leave on the arms and the motors, of course. So I'm going to do a little bit of a mod and come back and do another little flight with it. And then we're going to go back to the table, do a pros and cons afterthoughts, and get the flight times and all that stuff. Hey guys, welcome back. So we got some flight video in the park, in the house, and with the hat cam, and we're able to go through all the paces on this guy and see just how good it did. So I'm going to go run through some pros and cons now on this guy and just tell you what I thought. So first off, you're probably wondering why the guards are sitting over here. I went ahead and after I did my testing, I went ahead and cut this off. Just basically cut in every area that it was touching the frame, took it off, and then actually the body was being held on through the guard as well. So I went ahead and just put a couple little dabs of hot glue to hold the body onto the frame, and it works quite a bit better. It's got way less wind resistance, and you actually get a little more flight time on it without the guards. So I'd recommend for learning purposes, or if you have a child or something that just wants to bang around on it, leave that guard on. But once you get good, this thing flies really well, and I'm going to go over that right now. So basically, first off, it's very quiet. I like the sound of it. It's real quiet, really efficient sounding. Flies excellent, nice and smooth. This micro actually outflies a lot of the micros I've been flying recently and reviewing, so really impressed with this one. Very durable, especially with this guard on over here. You can hit ceilings, hit walls, and you won't break anything. So it's got 2 rates of pitch and roll, and the yaw rate is the same. It's kind of a medium yaw rate, which is decent. Would have liked to maybe see 3 rates, slow, medium, and fast on all of the yaw, pitch, and roll. Kind of like what I like to see for every quadcopter, or every multi-rotor in general, just to have those capabilities for a slow learner to a fast expert flyer. The rate 1 and rate 2, you could fly this very fast. It was really fun to fly. The lift was pretty decent, especially when you took the guards off here. And just taking a point on the guards, you're probably not going to be able to use these again once you cut them off, because there's a bunch of points and they kind of lose their integrity once you cut them. I guess you could maybe hot glue the points again if you wanted to, reattach it, but I think if you're going to remove it, it's going to be a one-time thing. And just touching again on the for a beginner, I think this is really one of the best small quads in general for a beginner to fly. First of all, because it has this crash cage here that basically covers every aspect of it, and secondly is it's really smooth, has really smooth flight. The only con with the control in the flight was when you did push the right thumbstick, it took a little longer than normal to actually until you got some reaction out of it. So you had to push a little and then you would get some more reactions. It wasn't an immediate response. There was kind of a dead zone in here a little bit. So I guess for a beginner that's okay, but when you start getting a little better, you want to kind of want that feedback immediately after pressing the stick. And I did a TX off test and it did just drop after a few seconds, so that's good to know. Anyway, as far as the flight times and the range goes, the range, I believe, I said it in the video, but I believe it was over 100 feet, so really good for this one. It may have even been more than that. You'll have to go back and check in the video. But yeah, I believe it was over 100 feet, so really good for a micro like this. And the flight times were 7 minutes and 20 seconds until the low voltage lights would start blinking, and then another 30 seconds until you had that forced landing and the motor cut off, so you wouldn't ruin your battery. So all in all, I really like this one. This is one of my favorite micros right now. I like the frame, real simple, really light, flies super well, well designed. If there was anything, it would be maybe the body is a little weird because it is kind of like a plain body on a quadcopter. Some people might think it's cool. I'm kind of starting to like it just because it's different. Anyway, guys, this was a review model from Lightake.com. I'll have the links in the description of where you can pick this up. I hope you like the review. I do a lot of reviews like this, so check out the channel and subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.